just did its annoying thing.
It's
Been really,
frozen,
yeah, it's
either for
been
you or for
really,
me. Yeah.
it's me, it's my camera. My
Okay.
camera's been really naughty. I'm just muting you and hopefully we can get back to the other one. Hold on. Okay, we're almost there. It's all starting to work. Is it starting to work? Not with my cameras. Go back to this for a second. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm going to switch it out to this. Yes. Okay. Yeah, my camera has been really tetchy today. My Logitech Brio, which I have looked up online, and it has a hard time connecting to Zoom. So sometimes it's just gets nasty and it doesn't want to be there. But it will be lit up and it will tell me it's working, but it isn't. So anyway, the beauty of technology. And I think there's something about my energy that messes with technology a little bit because I usually have things that kind of work but don't fully work. So I'm accustomed to that type of activity in my life. Yeah, it kind of works. It works enough, but it's not really working. That's just with technology. With my life, maybe it's that way too. Who knows? Maybe that's a good metaphor for my life. All right, so we're going to work with space today. Hold on one second. I have to do one more thing. YouTube and its own choices. Okay. All right. So we're going to play with space today and how we conceive of space and how we feel with space and what space brings up for us when we pay attention to it. So we're going to do like a maybe moving, maybe not moving, time to land in our awareness with space. And then we'll move more and have more freedom and move however we want. Remember to share music right now so I don't forget when it happens, which I'm not putting any on for a little while. But let's just come into our bodies, coming into a landing, in for a landing, in with a landing, just feeling what it feels like to be in your body. And of course, in this somatic inquiry practice, you can take everything with my guidance and do it, or you can go on your own trip somewhere totally different. Take it as it feels right to you. Giving your body permission to inform you about what might feel good and moving towards coherence in your body, which means your breath, your heart, your hormones, everything's working together. Like we're coming into alignment. We could say our guts, our hearts, and our heads are all on the same page. So, in the interest of coming into alignment within ourselves, makes it easier to come into alignment in the world. So, feeling what it feels like to be you in your body, landing here on the planet Earth in a human body. And we can do this with eyes open or eyes closed. And we're probably going to work with some breath sounds eventually. But for right now, let's actually just stay with conceiving in our mind or in our sensation. So feeling into the space underneath you, feeling into the earth underneath you, the ground beneath your feet, or the chair under your butt, or however you are. And you could do this laying down. I feel like it's kind of easier to conceive of it seated or standing in vertical in your body, but you don't have to. You could be in any way. So feeling the earth underneath you, just feeling how it arrives in your awareness, in the sensation in your body. How are you connected to the planet? How are you connected to the ground? Allowing the gravitational pull of the earth to give you the information that you belong here. You aren't going to fall off. You are connected to the planet. And imagining the space below you as just continuing down and down and down. So we're connected to the floor or wherever we're connected to our seat, but under that is the earth herself, the Gaia, and under that is like deep, deep, deep down the molten core of the earth. And within that structure, there's mud, there's heat, there are creatures. So underneath us, we're connected to this living planet, right? Or within the planet, there's a lot of liveness. So I want to just say that we're part of this biosphere, us, the things in it, the breath around us, the air around us, but really tuning into the place below, down to the ground. Right now, we've really got our feet on the ground, even if they're not, even if they're folded underneath you. What does it feel like to have your feet on the ground? The support of the earth underneath you. Feeling into the breath wave as you're there, feeling the earth below you and the breath inside of you. Being with that earthy connectedness, connected to earth, connected to our bones, the tissues in our bodies, even the fluids in our bodies allow us to understand where down is, where the ground is. Like if I move slowly, my body takes in the information. It's not just my vestibular system in my ears, it's my fascia and the fluids moving, understanding where down is. As long as I'm not underwater, it's really easy to feel what part is down, how does my body go down? What is relating to what's underneath me? What parts of me are moving down? Not in a conceptual, like, or a judgmental, like, oh yeah, I'm just giving into gravity, I'm sagging, but feeling the connection to earth. And even maybe with that connection to earth, there's a rebound, right? There's a rebound from the earth coming back up through your body. There's a springiness to our life force connecting to the planet. Like we don't just drop down there. We have this rise away from it as well. And from here, we're actually going to go to the space behind us, feeling into the back space. Feeling into your back body. It's almost like you can take all the awareness in the front space and just bring it back, bring it back, bring it in. Feel what's behind you. Feel the space behind you. We could say where we came from is behind us, like metaphorically, our ancestors are behind us, our family. But maybe there are other things backing you up, right? Maybe there are other supports for your back body. What does it feel like to bring your awareness into the back space? And for today, the way that we're working with this space around us, it may be full of ideas, it may be full of memories, it may be full of inspirations, it may be full of entities. Let's say archetypes instead of entities. It may be full of different things. Like you may have a very full space around you, or maybe you haven't spent much time with it. So let it come out, evoking the space, invoking the space through the sensation of being a body on the planet right now. That actually, when I say it like that, it's like, oh my God, there's so much going on. So, yes, all the things are going on, and maybe they weigh on our backs, right? How are we receiving everything that's happened already without going too spirally down a bad place? Try and keep it in sensation, in the body, in the backspace. And from there, I'm going to do both sides at the same time. So you can reach into the space or not, but feeling into the side space. As I move my arms into that side space, as I feel into like what's beside me, what's traveling along with me, or what's seeing the world with me. So how do the two sides come into your awareness? Is one does one have more fullness, or the dominant side, maybe you have more of a relationship to that side of your body? So how is it to be with these two sides? And maybe there's movement, or maybe there's just breath. Any way that you feel like relating is totally fine. That is the way to do it. There isn't a right or wrong. Is there anything on the side that you can pull into yourself, or anything you want to push away, right? Are there things to draw in from that side space? Can I find support in that side space? Narrowing, widening out, right? Coming into myself and then widening out and away from myself. Taking up space or narrowing in, sometimes enclosing, like if I close all the way over, if I really narrow in, crossing midline. It's very different than when I'm radiating out, opening up. So just feeling into like, what is that like? What is it like to cross midline? Maybe give yourself a hug, or see how far you can go across. Of course, you don't have to even be moving at all. You can just be feeling into it. Once I got into side for me, my arms want to explore. I want to feel those wings of the heart, wings of the lungs radiating out. As I put my arms out, it's like, oh, I'm gathering in my people in that side space, my tribe, right? If we could imagine ourselves circled around the fire together. I look to one side, there's one part of my tribe, another side. Got this big tribe around me in that open side space. Maybe it's different for you. Maybe it's time to call in the tribe. Maybe there's someone in the tribe you got to kick out. Oh, who's that person beside me? I don't need that anymore. Letting go of that, letting this come into the front space. And it can be movement, it can be not movement, it can be breath, could arch and curl. Just feeling what's in front of you. How does it feel to relate to the front space? And then as I'm relating to the front space, I notice I'm relating to the screen, I'm relating to my Zoom room, and I'm feeling huge love and gratitude for people being there. Maybe the TV land people also, like, oh, when I open into my front space, there's something in my heart that really is connected to that front space. It's the people on the other side of the fire from me in my tribe. So, what is going on in your front space? Just feeling into that. I'm on a physio ball, so I can easily just move forward and backward, just rocking, feeling into the front space, letting myself back up. Sometimes when people have had a lot of trauma, it's associated with places around their body. So I just want to name that and honor that like maybe some parts don't feel safe. And so that's okay. We can just be like, kind and gentle with ourselves. Don't force yourself into any of those places. Sometimes it's like different things where maybe as a child, something, relational was going on in certain spaces. So if that is the case, kindness and gentleness for your experience and for what has landed in your body, right? For what you have on your glorious plate of life to deal with. So just being kind with that. But I'd like to offer that as we develop a relationship with the space, there's like an infinite potential and capacity around us. And there can be new relationships and new stories for that space. So it might be that you want to think about drawing a picture. If there's like a weird space around you, maybe you fill it with a bouquet of flowers. I once made a piece of art that had my body. It was a drawing of my body, and I had drawn in like a whole filigree flower side on my left side. I felt like I needed to integrate that. So I made this picture to help integrate my left side. So if allow yourself to access your creativity, to fill in the space that in a way that feels resourceful and resonant. So I just did this workshop with Mary Abrams in New York City at Moving Body Resources. And we were working a lot with embryology. And here's just the idea is that as the sperm and the egg join together and have connected, and this is the first point of you coming together, you kind of create your own space within there. It's not just coming from your mom, it's not coming from your mom and dad, it's initiated by them. But once you have arrived in that, there's a creation of space that you create your own little yolk sac to live in. You create these spaces inside your mother's body, right? In coherence with your mother, but there's a space creating happening within the womb that wouldn't happen if you had not arrived there, right? So in a way, we could say without, got a kitty getting ready to jump up on the thing, which could ruin the whole camera situation. So you've created the space inside your mother, and your body growing creates the space. So we could think that we're always in this relationship of creating space. We create space for ourselves in the world. We create space for ourselves in our house, in our life. And we can change our dynamics of how do we create that space? What do we fill it in with? And at the same time, all of the space around us is space. It's space around us. It's space within us. As I move, I'm moving through the space. And we could look at that as like awake awareness. Like this is me in this awake space, this awake, alive potentiality. So that's just a little more on the metaphysical version of that. But coming from that embryology where we're in the womb, creating the space to exist. And the fact that the space keeps moving and lets us in means that we're here. We're here to exist, to be on this planet together at this time. So let's start to take our awareness into the space above us, right? The potential for transcendence, or the inspiration that can come in, come down from that space above us. What is above you? What is, if we radiate out and up, I've got some cat feet that are taking up some of my side space. My cat is a noodle. He looks like one too, but he feels like a noodle. You're a noodle. Yeah, so what, like that up space, what is that space above you? Like the heavens, the sky. How does it feel just to go up? Right? As I go up, especially if I go up and forward just a little bit, I feel the sense of wonder coming in. And I draw that wonder down to me. So you may or may not move with that. You may just imagine the movement of up, or you can find it in your spine, this lengthening and shortening, growing and shrinking with the breath. We can also really feel, but as for me right now, as I'm feeling up, I also want to feel down. So feel free to, you can receive the inspiration or the transcendence. You can relate to that space above. And if you need some other areas, feel free to let them come in too. And right now we're really working with the octahedron. These are the inner scaffolds of the octahedron, the vertical dimension up and down, horizontal dimension side side, and sagittal dimension forward backwards. I'm going to show you what that looks like in a crystalline form. Just keep moving and playing with it. So this is an octahedron. It has 6 points and 8 sides versus the cube, which is that, a dice, right? Those are two different things. So we have our up-down axis, our side-side axis, and our forward-backward axis in that little Dungeons and Dragons dice. And so that's kind of like a mandala that we're moving with. And like, this is the work of Rudolf Laban creating this, or this is not everyone has their relationship with these points. But for me, I learned a lot about it from the Laban work and moving with it, from really spending time in it from the Laban work. But it's also part of like the universal mandala that Michael Taft teaches in his meditation courses. And I think he's got some meditations online with that. So we can reach into this space in just our mind or with our body. And our mind maps, our consciousness maps in accordance with our movement, with how much movement we take in. Like if we don't ever move around or look around or take in the space, our map is going to be pretty small. So as we start to add relationship to these spaces through movement, through awareness, it starts to open up our minds in a way. So we're just going to play with those. And you can let go of the form of the up, down, side, side, and let it be anywhere, that it can be really three-dimensional, any place. Just playing with how the space lands for you in your body and how you land in the space. And this can be laying on the floor, rolling around, seated, however you want to be. I'm going to add music and just let us play with that for a little while. One more thing I'll say is that sometimes we think, I did this thing and this is how I felt, and now I know this thing. But this is something that we can every single day have a very different feeling for. So layering in your awareness and your relationship with the space around you so that you're not set in your knowing. You can come in with a sort of Zen mind, beginner mind, not like, oh, I know that. But what is it? Let it be fresh and new every time. Because every day you are different. Every day you've had different experiences, you've eaten different food, you slept differently. So invite in that subtlety into your awareness. Alrighty. This is Ambient Fields 1, Song 1. And the music is by Jeff Gersh. And he made it in Iceland. And he is an upstate artist who is quite something. This just feels so spacious to me. So let the music feed your movement and your experience. So this work is some of the stuff that we'll be doing in the Movement for Meditators course. But we'll also be doing a little bit more sort of almost exercisey work and more somatic. I mean, this is somatic work. But we'll be playing with these concepts and how we embody our moment on this planet, how we embody ourselves, how we land in ourselves, CELLS. And maybe imagery comes into your mind or metaphor or memory, they can all be there. And sometimes those memories or metaphors, images, are great tools to find those places again. I'm going to add another thought with this. I really think of this up-down space, this heaven and earth space, as the I am space. Here I am. If I do this with my hand, this gesture in the vertical in my midline, it's very much about I am. So it's a way of coming into yourself and heaven and earth, right? I am here, central channel between heaven and earth. This side space is very we are. Like I can put my arms around and I can share information in this horizontal plane. So I'm adding the front back to my side, and I have this horizontal plane, which is very sharing and caring, very much about we are. Scattering information, gathering information. This is very much a shared space. Here we are at the table together, the round table or the square table or the weird shaped table, all coming together or around the circle, around the fire. That would be in this kind of a space. And then I really think of this forward and backwardness as the will, like I will do this thing, or I won't. But I will as like my will or thy will, the will, moving forward and then backward also. It's a choice not to. I'm moving towards something, I'm moving away from something. And sometimes our bodies really know, like, ooh, stay away from that person, stay away from that food, stay away from that corner as the cars are moving by, whatever it is. Our bodies can tell us a lot. And the more we listen, the more they speak. So, not shutting down what you hear from your own body. And let's just take that a step further. It's the wisdom of your own body, the healing wisdom of your own body. So that's not the part of your body that says, I want to eat that Dorito. Right? It's not the addictive part that's like, oh, but I really want this thing or that person, that really toxic person. Let's go with the wisdom, the inner heart wisdom of our body, the heart, gut, mind wisdom in alignment. Yeah, let yourself set it free so you don't have to stay in any kind of, you can open it out, shift it around, letting go of that octahedron, and letting your body move however it feels good. In a minute, I'm going to take it down on the floor. Yeah, as I move through the space moves through me, right? This space over here isn't different if I'm in it. It's still the same space. And if I imagine that all of this space is conscious, then I have a very different relationship with being in the world. Bringing in the wonder, trusting your experience, being in the experience of being, aware of awareness. What am I noticing? What is interesting? What is curious? Let go of any like, oh, I gotta do it right. This is how it is, or anything like that. Just let it be whatever it is. let's add a little bit of theta breath to this. So the theta breath is a soft hiss, which my earbuds are going to cut out, but it's a soft, gentle release of breath. In the gentle release of breath, let's just invite our hands and feet into this exploration so that we're really feeling that distal part of our body, those edges of our actual body in this space, hands and feet, awakening our little animal paws. These are big animal paws. We think of the size of like a polar bear's paw, big clumpy polar bear paws. Or maybe they're like little raccoon hands or otters. Give yourself the possibility to experience in your imagination what it's like to be different than human. What if you were an alien arriving in this body? What would you do? How would you move? Adding the theta breath to really slow the exhale and give us this little teeny internal vibration, releasing the steam, releasing the breath. Pulling out to those distal edges, the edge of your kinesphere, growing in the space, coming back into yourself sometimes. Like a cephalopod, they have all those arms and legs. Letting the space be alive within you. There's this one creature that I was obsessed with for a while called Pygnopodia. And it's got like just arms, appendages just coming out, multiple. So what would it be like if that was your experience of the world, tasting the world through your fingertips or through your toes, tasting the world? Feeling the space moving through you as you move through the space. If you had the sensitivity of an octopus, if your skin could change colors, and if your skin could taste life, taste space, taste the world. Letting the three dimensions, the vertical, lateral, horizontal, swirl around each other. Inner body hydrating through micro movement or macro movement, and or both. Imagining, your inception coming into the world, where creating space for yourself. Juicy space. Infinitely potent. So many possibilities of you coming into the space. There's also like the empty space. There's negative space inside of our bodies, even, right? In our mouths, in our ears. Falling into the negative space around your body. Negative space is still just space, unoccupied space, unoccupied to our knowledge, to our concept of space. But maybe there's a lot of stuff in that space. There's air, molecules. Giving yourself permission to accept yourself, to accept this experience, to accept this moment, to accept your own belonging. Even if there's some part of you that's going, what am I doing? What is this? This is ridiculous. That part is here too and allowed to be here. All the good, all the bad, all the things. Nothing is shut out. It's not possible to shut things out anyway. Some part knows that they're here, right? And whatever we're running from, I don't mean whatever we're running from in the outer world so much as within ourselves. If there's part of yourself that you're running from, if you can have some spaciousness and inclusion of that part. Welcome in. You belong here. You're part of me. I accept you. Right? It's even the yucky, imperfect parts, which there may be a lot of those. Everything within experience is there. And when you have more equanimity with all the parts of yourself, it's easier to have equanimity for other people. Even for your life, the things that have happened in the past. All of that has brought you to this point now. And couldn't have been any different. If it could have been different, it would have been different. So there's no shoulda, coulda, woulda. There only is what is. Gentleness and kindness for the what is. Within yourself. you to get in there and drill down on any part of yourself and get rid of it. Integrating doesn't mean that it's just going to go away and suddenly that part's been thrown, tossed in the bucket. It's just allowing it to be there. In the space with all of you, belonging on the planet. Gravity says we belong. Slowly turn that down. Yeah, sometimes I put Jeff's music, it's on Bandcamp in the description, so I'll try and remember to do that. Just giving yourself a couple of minutes or breaths or however long it takes to just come in, processing the processing. Somatic practice is not a band-aid. It's like, it's more like a little bit of salt that's going to clear the wound. I don't know. That's maybe not a good analogy, but for me, what I find, the deeper I go with this work, the more my heart breaks and the more present I am with life, but definitely more vital. But it doesn't come in and arrive like, oh, now I feel so much better. I'm ready to go in the world. It's more like, oh, okay, gotta slow down. So be gentle with your own reception of the work, how it lands for you. Can be, if you have a lot of resistance, take your time. Don't come back quickly. Or or do whatever feels right with you with this work, whatever serves your animal body and your soul and your spirit on the planet at this point in time. Gentleness and kindness for yourself and your cells, each and every little cell in your body. So here's just a little tidbit of information I learned also in your one stage of your development, kind of like about 2 weeks in, you become what some people call it the primitive streak. And I believe it is also called the notochord or the notochord. And as we develop, like our body is going through these iterations, but in our discs now is some of that tissue that was you as a notochord in that embryonic stage. So somehow it turns into our body as our vertebral disc. So it creates some of the substance that's part of us. And those have a lot of capacity to shift and change, right? We sometimes think, I got a slip disc, I shouldn't do anything, I gotta not move. And really, you should micro move your spine, let it free up, let it find its fluidity again. So that's my little last word on that. If you are here in TV land, if you made it through the live stream, which I think one or two people did, bravo, thank you for joining us. And